your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Welcome on in, Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on 365 Sports. In a world now where the greatest hockey nation on the planet is the United States of America. And we will be talking about it today. USA wins the gold, double gold. The women get it. The men get it. They both beat Canada in overtime. I mean, how much better can it get than that? We're going to break down one of the greatest days in American hockey history and probably one of the greatest sporting days of my lifetime as well. We'll talk about that. And we'll do something that we did after the Four Nations last year that actually people really liked. We'll do some stock up, stock down on who's, you know, and looking at it the NHL way, obviously, of whose stock went way up or way down based on the gold medal game. I'm just looking at those two teams, how they did in the tournament, whose stock is up, whose is going in the tank. And then we will talk a little basketball. The Celtics BTA'd. That's what the kids are saying. Belt to ass on the LA Lakers last night in a big day in LA. I mean, Pat Riley day. And no one hates the Celtics more than Pat Riley. Choke on that, old man. Kick the shit out of the Lakers. And then LeBron is saying, yeah, actually the MVP of the league, who it should be, plays on the other side there. We'll talk about whether Jaylen Brown can actually win this award and why Jaylen himself thinks he cannot. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. But y'all, today is a day of appreciation. Today is a day of a victory lap for the good old US of A. For the first time since 1980, the U.S. has won the gold medal. No miracle necessary. You know, my dad texted me the other day, casual hockey fan, obviously goes way back, remembers where he was when the Miracle on Ice happened. And he texted me Friday after they clinched their spot in the gold medal game. And he said, Miracle Part 2, ? And I said, nope. I think the biggest testament to them, to this team, to USA Hockey, is the fact that it would have been a miracle had they not been in the gold medal game against Canada. This is how it all was supposed to be. And I got a Josh Allen and Patriots debate going on in the comment section. Love the comment section. We are going to be talking about hockey today. I mean, someone asked me right after that game, is that the greatest hockey game you've ever seen? And it's tough to get those things right in the moment, like right after it happened. I'll tell you what, guys. I don't know if I've seen a better hockey game than that. With the stakes that were involved in it, that was pretty damn good. The quality of players on the ice, the stakes, the context, the rivalry, all of that put together. It's tough for me to pick a better hockey game that I've seen in my lifetime. Last year's Four Nations final was pretty good. You know, the greatest hockey moment win for me as a fan was Game 7 in Vancouver 2011, but that was a dud of a game. They won 4-0. The only one I could think of that would have rivaled this one was Game 7 against Tampa in 2011. Nathan Horton scoring the goal with about 7 minutes left in the third. 1-0, no penalties, just an incredible hockey game. But this, what we saw on Sunday morning for the gold medal, I don't know if it gets better than that, man. I don't know if it gets better than that. And part of it is that, yeah, they ended up actually winning the thing in the end. And I think what made this special, and I talked about this a little bit on Friday, what made this special was you could tell how much it really meant to these guys. You know, it's so rare in sports these days that we do see guys just leaving it all out on the line for something that they really believe in that's more than just money and reputation, right? I mean, we do see it in hockey a lot more than other sports, you know, but with this, it was truly a bunch of dudes who felt that their team, their program, their country did not get enough respect in the sport that they play, in the sport that they love. And, you know, it's funny. It's the ultimate chirp of the tournament from Matthew Tkachuk to Leon Draisaitl. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But for nearly half a century, USA Hockey has been the bridesmaid and not the bride. You know, I know they won the World Cup in 96, beating Canada in Canada. It often gets forgotten, and that was great. But, you know, 0-2 on your home soil, when you romp through everybody, silver, lose to Canada in the final. 2010, when you beat Canada in the prelims on their home ice. Score the game tying goal with 20 seconds left in the gold medal game. Lose in overtime. Bridesmaid. 2014, you didn't even medal because you lose to a Canada team 1-0 in the semis. Bridesmaid. Four Nations. Beat them in the prelims again on their ice. Bring it back to Boston for the championship. Lose in overtime. Bridesmaid. So often, the U.S. has been the bridesmaid in this sport. Yesterday, today, and for the next 4 years, they are the bride. They are the bride, baby. That was one of the greatest sporting moments of my fandom, to watch Jack Hughes put that puck through the net. And it was really just the perfect ending to what was an unbelievable game. For a word that gets overused far too much in the sports lexicon, it was an unbelievable game. Matt Boldy scoring that first goal. I mean, a guy who's underrated in the league. You know, he's a 30-goal guy already in this season. We're in February. But Austin Matthews makes a nice play along the wall against Nathan McKinnon. Not the last time we'll hear that. And Matt Boldy, man, goes right through, splits right through Canada's top D pair. Cale Makar, Devon Taves, just right through them. These are guys that are two of the best defensemen on the planet, especially Cale Makar might be the best defenseman on the planet. And they're not just two all-stars who get put together on Team Canada. They're on the same D pairing on their own team. For Canada and for the Colorado Avalanche, they have been the D pair forever. Like, you shouldn't be able to just knife through these guys. And Matt Boldy does it. Because he's doing this like street hockey skill, batting it out of midair to himself, and then goes forehand, backhand on the short side. First shot of the game, and the U.S. is up 6 minutes in, but it was the first shot of the game for them. And you're thinking, man, is this just going to be maybe the luck that they get today? No, because Canada dominated maybe the rest of the game. They dominated probably about 50 minutes of this game, Canada did. And there were points in the third period where the U.S. was just grabbing on for dear life, man. But I go to this moment in the second period where our pal Charlie McAvoy makes it a 5-on-3 for Canada. And at that point, I'm like, there's no way, as much as I am like, USA, like there's no way that this Canadian team does not score on a 5-on-3. Like, are you kidding me? People were having legit conversations before this game as to whether this is the greatest team that Canada has ever put on the ice. Canada! You know, you can roll out a power play even with Crosby out, you can roll out a power play with Makar, McKinnon, Celebrini, McDavid. Like, it's insanely talented. And they get a minute 33 of a 5-on-3, and the U.S. kills it off. And you're like, what is happening here? Like, my initial thought is, my God, the U.S. is going to ride that momentum. They can deflate Canada right here. And instead, what happened is it gave Canada a second wind. And they really put their foot down after that. A couple minutes later, Cale Makar ties it. Perfect shot off a nice set play. Rips it 1-1. And you're thinking, oh, no. Oh, no. Canadians got their legs under them now. Here we go. Here's where the U.S. luck probably runs out here. And I'll go as far as saying the way Canada dominated that game yesterday for huge stretches, if not almost the entire game, like, that didn't happen last year in the Four Nations, as good as that Canadian team was. Like, the U.S. played really well and on par with them in both games. Like, it was neither team was thoroughly dominant in either of those two games. If I had to pick one, it would be the U.S. in most of the first game with how they played defensively, how they forced Canada to the outside. So this was not expected, even as good as Canada was. But after Cale Makar ties the game, the USA does have a bit of a shift for really the rest of that second period, including the last minute. And then, Brock Faber double doinks. Hits both posts and out. East-west. Bang. Out. In the final minute of the second period. That would have been humongous to go up 2-1 going into the third. And it's like, oh no, maybe the bounces just aren't going their way. But here is the thing. Here is the thing that the U.S. had that Canada did not. Connor Hellebuck was born in Michigan. That might be the only reason the U.S. won Olympic gold, is because Connor Hellebuck was born in Michigan and not in Manitoba, not in Saskatchewan, not on Prince Edward Island. A Michigander, baby. And UMass Lowell product, because he absolutely locks it down. Like, Canada is feeling themselves going into that third period, man. Like, their balls are dragging on the floor heading out to the ice for the third period. They know they dominated the second. They evened up the score. They got the bounce on the Brock Faber shot going into the third. And here we go. But in that second and third period, you have a Connor McDavid breakaway that is stonewalled by Connor Hellebuck. Late in the third, you have a Macklin Celebrini breakaway that is stonewalled by Connor Hellebuck. Early in the third period, you have maybe the greatest save I have ever seen, considering the stakes of the hockey game. The greatest Olympic save ever on Devon Toews, who is just sitting there in the blue paint in front of the net. And at first, I thought it was this. I think everyone thought it was this. Kenny Albert thought it was this. Everyone thought that Toews just kind of pulled it, pushed it through the crease, and just missed. But Helly gets the paddle down on that thing. That is one of the most remarkable saves I have seen at any level of hockey ever. Add in that it's the in a tie game in the third period of a gold medal game. I don't know that you can get much better than that. That picture right there, next to Jack Hughes with the chipped chiclets and the blood coming down from his face, celebrating the game-winning goal. Those are the two that will live in U.S. hockey lore right there. If Toews puts this puck in the net, who knows, man? The floodgates might open. This was like 2 minutes into the third period to put them up 2-1, and who knows? It could be 4-1 by the end of the game, the way that the U.S. was holding on for dear life. And, not for nothing, you got to have a little luck too. Because with 10 minutes to go in the third period, the greatest goal scorer in the game today has this to look at. Has this wide open net. Bit of an angle, sure, but on his strong side, and the entire net open, and he flat out misses. No post, no incredible skate save, no poke check, just flat out missed the goal. You couple that with the blatant too many men on the ice call that was not called against the United States with about 6 minutes left, and you get some bounces that go your way. And that leads to the golden goal. Although all these butthurt Canadians are telling me, oh, there's only one golden goal. There's a second one now. And I was telling my fiance about this last night while I was a little high, talking about what this game meant for the U.S., for me as the American hockey fan. Like, and I'm sure most of you can relate to this. We have seen that freaking Sidney Crosby goal from the 2010 Winter Olympics. We have seen that Sidney Crosby goal for 16 years now. And how great a moment it was. It's the greatest hockey moment to ever happen, ever. And we have seen that on every highlight reel for 16 years with nothing to come back at them with. We're going to see that Crosby goal forever. But you know what? Now we're going to see this one too. Now we've got our own. And then we'll say, yeah, that's when we took double gold off Canada. That's when the entire nation of Canada just put their coping tears onto Twitter and told us how we're a bunch of perverts and school shooters and all this stuff because they couldn't handle losing a hockey game online. And 3-on-3 is a gimmick. And 1 in 50 years and all this crap. It is beautiful. Like this, for me as the fan, this could have stood on its own for me. The U.S. winning the gold medal. Like I have wanted that for so damn long as a hockey fan in this country. But to add the Canadian tears that we have seen and the coping that they have done over the last day, cake, even the best cake in the world is better with icing on it. Okay? And that is what we have gotten here with this game. And I do want to do the stock up, stock down here in a few minutes, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the greatness of this game without talking about what it means for hockey in this country. Not to sit here and say that hockey was dying and it needed something like this. Like hockey is in as good a spot as it's ever been in this country, whether the U.S. won this game or lost it. But this it's not a miracle. It's not the miracle on ice. It's not, nothing will ever touch that. Okay. If you're saying that it's another miracle, you just don't follow the sport. But this game, this victory, this gold medal over Canada, this will have the impact that the miracle on ice had for the next generation of American hockey players. You know, I saw they ran kind of a Q&A on USA Hockey. I think it was on their Instagram account before the medal round. And a bunch of the players, they were all asked, you know, what's your favorite Olympic hockey moment? And almost all of them, I think JT Miller was the only one who had the same one as me, which was Zach Parise's game-tying goal in the 2010 gold medal game against Canada. But everyone else said TJ Oshie in that shootout against Russia in Sochi. And he was like put on the Superman cape that day, Captain America kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, like, that was a great moment. I remember where I was for that. The U.S. didn't even medal at those Olympics. The Zach Parise goal, they lost that game. I was sitting there as a 12-year-old in Pizzeria Regina, the original in the North End, and the place was buzzing. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the first time in my life I thought, man, sports are actually way better when you watch it with a bunch of people. And now, at the 2042 Olympics, when they ask this same question, they're not going to be talking about Zach Parise's goal. That was all for naught. They're not going to be talking about TJ Oshie in a shootout. That next generation of American Olympians are going to be talking about this. They're going to be talking about Jack Hughes scoring the game winner to knock off Canada and win the first gold in almost half a century. 46 years to the day from the miracle. So tomorrow will be the 46-year anniversary of them actually clinching the gold. That's what they're going to be talking about. Jack Hughes with his cut teeth and his mouth bleeding, and Zach Werenski bumping Nathan McKinnon off the puck after Connor McDavid turned it over and sliding one right through the 5-hole of one of the great clutch goalies in the world right now, Jordan Binnington, and winning the gold medal. They're not going to be thinking about the great moments that almost led to something. They're going to be talking about the great moments that did lead to something, that were something. And that is what's super special for the U.S. And I'll talk a little bit more about this when we do stock up, stock down. But the U.S. National Development Team program has to be thinking this is the best case scenario. Like, it was always going to be good for the Americans to win the gold, no matter how it happened. You know, whether it was a blowout, whether you didn't even play Canada, whatever it was. If you win the gold, doesn't matter. It's great for American hockey. But when you look at this program that has come on so strong the last 15 years and the players it's developed, and it's probably the number one reason why the Americans have a good enough team to go up against Canada best on best the last 2 years and beat them this year. Jack Hughes is like the poster child of that program. And there's plenty more, right? The Kachucks, Quinn Hughes, Dylan Larkin. There's so many you can point to. Charlie McAvoy. But Jack Hughes did not play Canadian juniors in his draft year. He did not go to the NCAA. He played for the U.S. National Development Team all the way up till draft year and was taken round 1, pick 1. And he was the next Patrick Kane, is the next Patrick Kane. So for him to have that moment, he becomes an icon for American hockey players for generations to come. It's as good as it gets, man. It is as good as it gets. It's not a miracle. Not quite an expectation, but not a miracle. Nothing will ever be the miracle on ice again, but this will have the impact. And maybe I'm putting my balls out on the table here, but this is not going to be the last gold medal that the U.S. wins for the next 46 years. They're here. And I know you can bitch about, the Russians weren't in the tournament. Duh. When you talk about the senior level, Olympics, World Championships, Four Nations, or World Cup of Hockey, whatever comes now, the two best teams on the planet Earth are the United States of America and Canada. In that order. Party it up, guys. My favorite sport, my favorite country. Bam. Into one. Best in the world. But let me know what you think. Was this the greatest hockey game ever played? What does this mean for the USA going forward? Let me know in the comment section below. And then be sure to like the video. Subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart on 365 Sports. Man, I'm just like pontificating now. This became a pontification episode. Did it not? I do want to do some stock up, stock down. We're going to take a quick break in just a minute here. Okay. But first, I got to tell you about what is going on this Thursday. Okay. We have got a great new sponsor on the show, the Blackmore Bar in Charlestown, which is a great spot to go before or even after a Bruins game, a Celtics game. It's right over the Bill Russell Bridge from the Garden. So, like, you want to worry about and bitch about what the parking is like at the Garden. How about you go to the Blackmore Bar beforehand? You walk over there. It's your best option possible. And you can get some great drinks. They've got this unbelievable draft beer collection that they've got at the Blackmore. They've got great bar food. I love getting a bite to eat there before or after a game as well. And we're going to be there this Thursday, 5 p.m. There's no happy hour in Massachusetts, but you can come with us on the Wicked Boston Show and it becomes a happy hour. We're going to be there live right before the Bruins open the slate back up, coming back from the Olympic break against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And yes, if you're keeping score at home, that game will have 3 gold medalists, 0 silver medalists. So live it up for that one. Come see us. Come say hi. We'll do a special show at that 5 p.m. We'll talk a lot of Bruins, a lot of USA hockey, and get you ready for the second half, I guess, so to speak, of the NHL season. So definitely join us there. When we come back, we're going to talk about whose stock went up, whose stock went in the tank after the gold medal game at the 2026 Olympics. I want to hear what you guys think. Get involved in that comment section, and we'll see you after this short break on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit propmoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show, 365 Sports. Cam Stewart here, Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air. We're on the air 5 days a week on YouTube, dropping all the time. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show. Man, look at the love. Look at the love we're getting today. When Saucy Lemons 454 tells you they love you, like, how can you not feel like a gold medalist today? How can you not feel like we're absolutely on fire here? A lot of Bills talk. A lot of Bills talk in here. I don't know where that came from, but I would love to address this another day. I'd love to talk some Patriots-Bills stuff. But I do feel for... I saw someone put it out there last night that there are fans who are Canadian, who are Bills fans and Toronto Maple Leafs fans, who last night surely must have been wondering if tomorrow was even worth it. It was even worth it to get out of bed today. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And I don't know if I don't think that part of the country is getting 2 feet of snow like we are. So maybe there's a silver lining there. But you got to be thinking those fans are like, if nothing else, Canada's got me. Canada will always win. Canada will always prevail. You know what I mean? Sorry, dog. Sorry. And you can't even latch on to Alabama football anymore. You can't do that either. Sorry, man. That's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. When you look at the Bills lost in overtime, the Jays in a Game 7, Stanley Cup final 2 years in a row for Canada's team, the Oilers, and then, the Leafs lost in Game 7 too, and then this. We're still basking in the glow, and probably will be for a couple of episodes here, of the U.S. winning their first gold in 46 years. And so we did this after the Four Nations last year. You guys really liked it, so we're going to go with it again. We're going to do stock up, stock down. Who improved their reputation, who tanked their reputation in the Olympics. I'm going to look at the entire Olympics, but I'm going to look at mainly the gold medal game, okay, and the two teams that played in the gold medal game. So we're going to do 3 of each, stock up, stock down, with a couple of honorable mentions as well. So let's start positive. Whose stock went up big time in this Olympic tournament, and specifically in the gold medal game? For the United States, I can't help but start with the big man in the cage. Connor Hellebuck, stock up. Now, the only reason he's not higher on this is because he's already pretty friggin' good. What, 3 Vezdas, a Hart Trophy to go along with it last year. But the knock on Hellebuck has always been big games. He's not a big game goalie. And if you look at his record in elimination games in the NHL, it's tough to argue. He's 1-6 in elimination games. Weirdly enough, his only win in an elimination game was against Jordan Binnington in a double overtime game last year. Now, I will say, if you parse through those games, most of them are not his fault. He has a .915 save percentage in elimination games, which is not bad at all. But he was shaky in the playoffs last year for sure. He gave up 39 goals in 13 playoff games. Do the math there. That's 3 a game. Got pulled a couple of times, was bad on the road. This was a neutral site in Milan, but obviously a ton of Canadians there. He put the big game thing to rest in this game. He was nails in this tournament. I thought he was nails all of the 4 nations last year. But in the gold medal game, Connor Hellebuck played the game of his life. 41 saves on 42 shots, a .976. And you know there were Winnipeg Jets fans who were just sick to their stomach that the first time Connor Hellebuck really puts together like a Hall of Fame performance, a legendary performance in an elimination game, it's against Canada. Eat your heart out. But again, he was sick the entire tournament. 131 saves on 137 shots, a .956 save percentage against the best competition in the world. And when he went up against the best competition of the world, Team Canada, one of the greatest hockey rosters ever assembled, he goes nuclear. 41 of 42 on the saves, and the greatest Olympic save in American hockey history, maybe even in hockey history, full stop, getting the paddle on that Devon Toews shot. Like, if you're going to frame a picture from this tournament, that is it. That is it right there. I mean, Connor Hellebuck, take a bow. And he has to answer for it right after the game with Catherine Tappan on the NBC broadcast. You know, they don't say you're a big game goalie. What do you got to say now? And you could tell he was irked by it. He was like, I just had the moment of my life. And you're going to ask me about the things I didn't do or I haven't done in the past, things I can't erase. And he said, look, I'll keep performing. Got a big smooch from Jeremy Swayman. I mean, what a moment that was for that save. And what a rise to the moment for Connor Hellebuck. Stock way, way up. Stock down. I'm going to do a little 2-for-1 here. Stock down on the Canadian side. Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon. The big dogs. Stock down. This might seem harsh because Connor McDavid won the 4 Nations with the overtime winner last year in overtime and was the tournament MVP in these 2026 Olympics. But 2 tournament MVPs for Connor McDavid, one in the Olympics, one for the Conn Smythe Trophy in 2024, and he didn't win the tournament either time. And quite frankly, McDavid was not really McDavid in this game. You got to give some credit to the U.S. for that, but he had the turnover basically that led to the game-winning goal. He was on the ice for both of the U.S. goals. He just wasn't his normal self, and he has this breakaway where he just kind of runs out of room. I don't even think he ever really puts the puck on the net in that play. And once again, you are calling for Connor McDavid to step up in those big moments like Sidney Crosby does, like Sidney Crosby has for 20 years. And with Captain Canada not being able to suit up in the biggest game, you have got to look to Connor McDavid. He is your alpha. He is the best player on the planet. He gets C for this game. And he didn't come through. So it's harsh, but a little bit of stock down there. Stock down on Nathan MacKinnon. This might also seem harsh, but did you see how open the net was? That's the best goal scorer on the planet right now. And the net is gaping. It's wide open. Hellebuck is not there. And you can't even put it on the net. Can't force Hellebuck to make a great save. Can't even say, oh, the post did it. Nathan MacKinnon flat out missed an empty net on the biggest and most important chance of the game, which would have put his team up 2-1 in the third period. That is a choke. That is an absolute choke job. Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, the two best players on the team. Nay, the two best players on the planet Earth. Both choked for you in the gold medal game. They were both on the ice for the game-winning goal against. Think about that. 3-on-3 overtime when Canada can roll out Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, and Cale Makar. That should be game over. It should be. But that's why these guys are stocked down. And Nathan MacKinnon in particular loses a board battle against Austin Matthews in the first period in a play where he had the position, he had the angle, and Matthews beat him with the stick. Gets the puck up the ice to Matt Boley. Bam, 1-0 USA. Then, in the third period, the fourth period. Then, in overtime, Jack Hughes pokes the puck beside Cale Makar. Looks like the U.S. is going to have numbers, but once again, McKinnon's got the angle, and he's a big boy. Okay, he's got the angle. Zach Werenski's coming in, and Werenski just bodies him off the puck and throws a sweet pass to Jack Hughes. Bang, game over. McKinnon's practically on the ice after losing that battle, and Connor McDavid is just skating behind. So the big dogs, Nate MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, stock down. Stock down for both of those guys. Stock up, I mean, it's tough to pick anyone more than stock up Jack Hughes. There's a lot of questions about Jack Hughes, and there will be a lot of questions about Jack Hughes as it pertains to how he can carry the New Jersey Devils. Okay, the IIHF game is big for Jack Hughes. He's not the biggest physical presence, and as we have seen, when the games do get physical and more tight, Jack Hughes is not the same Jack Hughes. And this is a success story in and of itself. Because last year on the Wicked Boston show, when we did stock up, stock down after the Four Nations, one of the biggest stock downs was Jack Hughes. But he comes into this tournament, he's on fire in it. Is a season where he was on fire, Jack Hughes style, injures himself while cutting his steak at a dinner that Frank the Tank was at. You know, it's unbelievable. But he's back for this. There's still a bunch of questions about his 3-zone play, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points in 6 games, and one of the 3 most important goals in the history of American hockey. I'll say that's pretty good for stock up Jack Hughes. And I said it in the last segment, but it bears repeating. The U.S. National Development Team and that program and the way they got this team here, like, that is a huge reason why the Americans won the gold. And the poster child of that program is Jack freaking Hughes. Quinn, too. Eichel, McAvoy, all these guys. But Jack Hughes. Jack was the guy that did not go to the NCAA or major junior hockey for his draft year. He stayed with the U.S. program. And he still went with the first pick in the draft, has still had a damn good career as a 25-year-old for the New Jersey Devils, and now has this iconic American hockey moment. And if you're just looking at the pictures of Jack Hughes today, you would have no idea that the guy struggles with physical play because he's scoring the game-winning goal in the Olympics while he's missing teeth. And Kenny Albert has that great call. He says, Jack Hughes is on the ice. I don't know if all his teeth are. And he scores the game winner. And in a tournament, by the way, where his brother looks like, and quite frankly is, the best American player on the planet. And Quinn almost scored the game winner. It was an unbelievable save by Binnington in the first 30 seconds of the overtime. And then a minute later, Jack Hughes does it. And again, I point out who was on the ice for Canada. Makar, McKinnon, McDavid, all three of those players are better than Jack Hughes and almost anybody that the Americans could put on the ice. Jack Hughes, humongous stock up. Humongous. Let's see what it does for the Devils, though. Stock down. It's another American. Kyle Connor. And I don't need to say much about Kyle Connor because I can play his highlights in the gold medal game right now. There you go. Roll credits. Didn't play a minute in the gold medal game. Barely played a shift in this Olympic tournament. And it's evidenced by the fact that when I look for pictures of Kyle Connor in the 2026 Olympics, the best I can do is the 2025 Four Nations. Barely played at all. And we saw it last year. He just wasn't physical enough, wasn't quite skilled enough. He was a stock down guy in last year's tournament. He is a stock down in this year's tournament. And quite frankly, I don't see a world where you take him for the World Cup of Hockey in 2 years. If there was a Four Nations tournament next year, I don't know how you take him. Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield at home, and Kyle Connor is there. There's not really a spot for KFC on this team anymore. And he's a hell of a player, man. Hell of a player. You look at his regular season stats, and there's no reason to think that he won't be on the next U.S. team. But come on, fellas. We've seen it now twice on Best on Best. He can't compete in the Best on Best tournaments. Sorry, Kyle Connor, stock way down. Before we get to the number one stock up and stock down for this tournament, I do need to look at two honorable mentions for stock up. One is Charlie McAvoy, who has been great all this season for the Bruins and was fantastic in this tournament. He had one bad drop pass in the gold medal game that could have led to a goal on one of those breakaways. It could have led to a Canada goal, which would have been really brutal. He also took the penalty that led to a 5-on-3, but he also had the second best save of the game that we don't see much because Hellebuck's one on Taves was so great. There was a puck that got behind Helly, and there was McAvoy who's trying to glove it and also trying to make sure he's still, over the goal line on the right side. It was an unbelievable play that he makes. So Charlie McAvoy, stock up. Macklin Celebrini, stock up. Macklin Celebrini, who's on every one of these shows with the BU bobblehead behind me. Just unbelievable, this kid. Incredible. He was already in the MVP conversation, but I think a lot of casual hockey fans who don't stay up for the West Coast games and the San Jose Sharks know exactly who Macklin Celebrini is now. 10 points in 6 games, 5 goals, 5 assists, and a guy who will be in the Selke conversation for years to come in the NHL. I see some Sidney Crosby there. I see some Sergei Fedorov there. There is so much to love about this kid, other than the fact that he was born in Canada and is going to have to play against us in the biggest tournaments. This kid was freaking phenomenal, and he has been all season. So buy stock in Macklin Celebrini. Our final stock down for the tournament, and it might be a little bit harsh, but stock down, Matthew Tkachuk. He was fine in this tournament overall. I think it's being a little overblown how bad he was. He did have 6 assists in 6 games. But maybe it's recovering from the injury. Maybe it's the way this tournament is. Or maybe it's just Matthew Tkachuk having a bad tournament. But he did not make the typical Matthew Tkachuk impact, okay? He wasn't living at the front of the net, poaching some goals. He obviously wasn't playing on the edge that he usually is. He didn't get to fight because you don't fight in the Olympics. And it's a lot less physical game when it comes to the IIHF. He just didn't have the impact that he normally does. Brady was slightly better. He scored a couple of goals in this tournament. But that line, I don't know if it was as big a factor as a lot of Americans and hockey fans thought it was going to be. So it's minimal because he's still one of the best players in the league. And I think when you get to a more NHL style of game, Matthew Tkachuk will still be one of the most valuable players in the league. But as far as this tournament, stock down, Matthew Tkachuk. The biggest stock up for the Americans at the Olympics, Dylan Larkin. Dylan freaking Larkin. He was stock up after the Four Nations last year. He is stock even farther up now. Dylan Larkin is one of the best kept secrets in the NHL because he hasn't played a playoff game yet. But with these two best on best tournaments the last 2 years, with the greatest collection of talent the U.S. has ever put out there on the ice, Dylan Larkin has been one of the most impressive players out there. And you'll look at the points and you'll be like, really? This is the guy he's going to rave about, 3 points in 6 games. But this kid did it all for the Americans. In fact, his friend, Zach Werenski, who himself is an underrated player across the league, called Dylan Larkin the heartbeat of the team. And he does it all for them. Okay, he scored a big goal against Sweden to put them up 1-0. He is a face-off monster. Whenever they needed him on a face-off dot, he won. He was probably your best penalty-killing forward in this entire tournament. So while people are giving flowers to JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck, who were much maligned going into this tournament and who did play well in the PK, Dylan Larkin was the best penalty-killing forward they had. And this was a penalty kill that, by the way, went 18 for 18 in the entire tournament. And then in the third period of the gold medal game, in a tie hockey game, Mike Sullivan switches up the lines. He takes Matthew Tkachuk off the line with his brother and Jack Eichel and puts Dylan Larkin on it. And I think that's all you really need to know. That Larkin could slot in there and was just as good as he has been the entire rest of the tournament. I mean, I was raving about this guy after the Sweden game. He had an awesome play in that overtime against Sweden. He had a sweep check that led to a 3-on-2, led to the U.S. having some chances and eventually scoring the goal. But Dylan Larkin is a guy we need to get into the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I hate saying that as a Bruins fan because it might come at the expense of the Bruins in the Atlantic Division. But you saw with Dylan Larkin and with Lucas Raymond, by the way, was Sweden's best player throughout the tournament. Like, these guys are dogs. Like, Dylan Larkin is a dog. He is made out to be this great playoff player. Like, he's perfect for a team in the postseason, and he just hasn't played in one yet. But that 200-foot, two-way center who's got unbelievable vision and skills and understands the defensive part of the game better than most guys with his offensive skills, he needs to be there. In fact, and this is really saying a bold thing here, mainly because I am such a fan of this next guy I'm going to talk about, but Dylan Larkin right now in his prime looks like the way Steve Yzerman played for those dynasty Detroit Red Wings teams in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yzerman was a transformative, offensive talent in the early parts of his career. He had a 160-point season and then had to learn to kind of play the defensive style, the face-offs, penalty kill. Like, Dylan Larkin didn't have the front half of the career that Steve Yzerman had, points-wise. He's not going to score 700 goals, but he's already figured out the important part playing for Steve Yzerman right now in Detroit. So watch out for this Red Wings team when they get there, because Raymond and Dylan Larkin are playoff players, and Larkin has shown it for you the last two best-on-best tournaments for the U.S. He is a nailed-on part of this team for years to come. I truly, truly believe that. And there's the question of what that next iteration of the U.S. team is going to look like. Maybe not at the next World Cup, but at the next Olympics 4 years from now. And Dylan Larkin will be in his early 30s. He should be on that team. That's how good he's been. And it will be remarkable to see when he actually does play in some playoff games, which will be this year, by the way. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Who is stock up, stock down for you at this Olympic tournament? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on 365 Sports. We're way behind because I went so hard on that. And I got to go on Matt Mosley's show at 15 after the hour. So here's what we're going to do. And I'm mainly talking to Zach back here and those of you watching live. We're going to roll with the rest of the show here without going to a commercial break. I got two quick things I want to hit on. First thing, and it's the last thought on this USA hockey team. But to me, what the U.S. just pulled off by winning the gold medal was so much like the 2004 Red Sox. You don't get this historic 3-0 comeback, but let's think about it here. In 2003, the Red Sox are finally going to beat the Yankees, right? And they got this lead in Game 7 in Yankee Stadium, and they are finally going to beat the Bullies. And then they don't. And they lose, and they get walked off. It's kind of like Connor McDavid scoring in overtime when you're finally going to beat the Canadians in this moment that we had last year. I wouldn't trade the gold medal for the Four Nations, but last year, people were really into the Four Nations, and that does still mean something. Kind of like what the Red Sox did in 2003. And then there was this year-long buildup, right? And all anyone cared about in baseball that year was the Red Sox and the Yankees in the ALCS. And all everyone cared about in international hockey this year was the U.S. and Canada in the gold medal. And it was just this year-long collision course. And the U.S. got better, right? The Red Sox added Curt Schilling before the 2004 season. The U.S. got to add Quinn Hughes because he wasn't there in the Four Nations last year. He was hurt. Curt Schilling has his bloody sock game in Game 6. Quinn Hughes has the overtime winner against Sweden in the quarterfinals. If they don't score, they don't medal. Okay, and he was the best player for the U.S. in this Olympic tournament. And it all comes down to this great dramatic moment once again. You know, it had been 86 years for the Red Sox, 46 years for Team USA, but it was all about that bully in your backyard. And that's what Canada has been. They've been the bully because they always win. They always find a way to win. No matter how good the U.S. teams have been in the past, Canada wins. Until now. In 2004, hell froze over. And the Red Sox beat the bully. They beat the Yankees. In 2026, hell froze over on a frozen rink in a barely finished arena in Milan. And the U.S. finally did that thing. And they beat the bully. They beat Canada. Long may that continue. It's a lot like the 2004 Red Sox, which is the most formative sporting team of my life. And it's not particularly close. And while I talk about this game and this team, I keep thinking about, it feels like I'm talking about something like the 2004 Red Sox, with this mystique behind it. And then I break down every moment of this game because it was so incredible. It's like breaking down one of these crazy Patriots Super Bowls. It's right there. That's why it is one of the greatest sporting moments of my lifetime. And thinking about that, you know, I was almost getting emotional yesterday. And what really didn't help my emotions, but what was great for everyone watching, was what the U.S. did after the game. You could clearly tell that it meant so much to these guys. They knew what they had accomplished, right? And they knew what this moment meant, not just for them, but the people that came before them and the people that will come after them. And they had this moment where they're skating around with their gold medals, and the number 13 jersey comes out for Johnny Gaudreau. And like, you could feel it coming. You could feel it coming. It's building up in me right now. You know, you think that the tears are coming here. And then they take the team picture, and there's two guys skating over. It was Dylan Larkin and Zach Werenski skating over to the bench area. And they go and they get Johnny Gaudreau's two kids, Johnny Jr., whose birthday it was today, and their daughter as well. And they're out there for the team picture holding up Dad's jersey. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, man. That right there is why sports are great. A lot of the time it's heartbreak, but sometimes you get these truly great 1 in a million moments. And, you know, I heard a lot of salty Canadians talking about it this week. You know, would Johnny Gaudreau have been on this team? Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau would have been on this team. And Johnny Gaudreau is, you know, you talk about the contributions these guys have made to American hockey. Gaudreau is right up there, man. I mean, a terrific player in the NHL, would have been on this team. Hobie Baker winner in college, a rock star in college, man. Johnny Hockey. So the fact that this team carried him and his memory and had the Gaudreau family out there, like this moment transcends sports, rivalry, politics. This is what it's all about. And there's all this talk of, you know, the Olympics aren't what they used to be. And, you know, it's not going to be like the Miracle because that was a bunch of amateurs. These are a bunch of millionaires. You only have that opinion if you didn't watch these celebrations. These guys would have played out. I mean, they did. They played here for nothing. They didn't get any money out of this. They risked life and limb for the team that actually does pay them. For the team that does cut them $1 million checks. They went out there to play for their country, for the guys beside them, for the guys coming after them, for the guys that came before them, and the guys that are no longer here. Full stop. Best moment of the Olympics. Any sport. Bringing the Gaudreau kids out there and celebrating something that their dad, while he's been gone 1.5 years now, actually did play a pretty big part in. So kudos to Team USA, man. We will not soon forget this. It's not a miracle, but it certainly will be memorable. That's enough cheese for today. Let me know what you guys think. What was the moment for you? Let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. We'll be back live on Wednesday, and we will talk more Boston stuff. I promise. It is the Wicked Boston Show. But this was awesome. This was awesome. I'm sure it won't be the end of USA Hockey talk on the show this week, but it doesn't get much better than this. So thank you guys for tuning in. Great live crowd. Check out the YouTube channel going out all week, and we'll see you on Wednesday on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.